Hi, and welcome to another edition of Cowbells in Conversation. My name is Allison Clark, and I'm so excited to give you another idea that rings. Today's guest is someone I met about 7 years ago. I was on the dance floor at the National Speakers Association. Imagine about 1,300 people from all around the world. We come to the dance floor, and this person, hands down, is the best dancer ever. So everyone's dancing. We had a great time. And the next morning, I go out, and at his booth, he is set up at the Wounded Warrior Project, and I realize that Dan is a double amputee. And I was like, are you kidding me? You're amazing on the dance floor. So that is how our friendship started, was on the dance floor. We've been friends ever since. And so I'm so excited to have your insight about how we can be resilient, but also how we can stay positive during this unknown time. So please help me welcome Dan Nevins!
Whoa.
Welcome!
Thank you, Allison. So great to be with you. So great to see your face all the way across the country.
Yes.
And thanks for having me on. I'm actually really looking forward to sharing some things that I'll hopefully make a difference, because we need that right now.
Yes. And before you start, could you just give people just a quick background about who you are, kind of what you went through?
Yeah. So I was 15 years ago now, I was a staff sergeant, squad leader in Task Force Tacoma in Iraq. And, it was a whole long story, like getting up to that point. And the reality was the Battle of Fallujah had just started in Fallujah. I was in a place called Balad and headed out for a 72-hour dismounted counterinsurgent operation. And then, boom, we hit an IED, improvised explosive device, that sent my vehicle about 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I lost my very good friend and one of my mentors, Sergeant First Class Mike Adelini, who I wear this bracelet for every day. And as a result of that explosion, I ultimately lost both legs below the knee and lived with a traumatic brain injury and a bunch of other little things too, spine issues and shoulder issues, all those bumps and bruises that go along with it. And though I'm just grateful to still be here. I was fortunately met at my hospital bedside the first day I got to Walter Reed Army Medical Center after 7 days in Germany and surgery every day, and mostly I saved my right leg for a while. My left leg was gone pretty much instantly. I saved my right leg, which I ultimately took 3 years later, which was a whole nother story, but the right thing to do. But I was met when I first got to Walter Reed by Wounded Warrior Project with a backpack full of comfort items we'd all take for granted, and promise that whatever I needed or whatever my family needed, they'd be there. And they have every step of the way. And, I worked for Wounded Warrior Project for a long time, helped that organization grow. And then about 6 years ago, I left, all on good terms, just so I can pursue my passions full time of storytelling and teaching yoga.
Wow. So you had said that really that was a life-changing moment when they were there for you to give you the backpack to know that you're supported. How did you really make the shift with your mind to say hey, I have a choice on how I can do something, with the support, find a way to live again? What was the switch in your mind to actually start to do that?
I just remember sitting in my hospital bed, and I had this sort of, it was a revelation, and it was very relevant right now. It's this is the world, this is what's happening to me. My one leg is gone. My other one is probably going to go. It looked like a Frankenstein science project. It was all held together with bolts and screws, and it didn't look good. And I said, okay, it's not growing back. It's just that's just okay, there's all what we want to be, what we wish it was like. And then there's what is. And this is what's happening. And that leg is not growing back. And so am I going to sit here and be miserable about it? Or am I going to just find the positive? What's next? I had all these ideas of how I define myself as a man. It's I'm, physical, athletic. I can run 26 miles with 40 pounds on my back, no problem. I can, and that was, at that moment gone. And then, so, well, then now what? What can I put my attention on that's actually going to do me well? And it changed everything. It changed the whole outcome of my physical therapy versus begrudgingly going. I went into physical therapy I can't wait to get better. And just the shift in mindset actually made the situation better compared to some of my peers who were in the very similar circumstances, but they, you know, chose, and this is the thing, it is a choice. It's a choice. They chose to stay in the wallow and the grieving process, which I think we need to take time to grieve and feel. Yeah, there's an adage that I use all the time in yoga is like, you have to feel so you can heal. So like,
so true.
Feel it, bring it in, reconcile it, and then move on. And then go. Don't stay in it. Like acknowledge it all of the feelings, all of everything that's happening. And once you get acknowledgement, accept it. Go.
I love that. And that's really relevant today too. It's like, what can we control? You know, and focusing on, hey, this is what we can control, and how can we be positive about that? So as you've done so much work in yoga and meditation, what are some tools, tips, ideas for people who have never tried yoga, who have never done meditation? How has it helped you? But also, what are a couple of things that people could use right now in this uncertainty, you know, chapter? We don't know what's going on, but what are some tools that would help all of us?
I got you. Well, it's perfect. I have the perfect answer.
I'm going to save your life.
Perfect. Just listen up. I do. I want to offer your listeners 3 practices for resilience that'll really help. But before that, I want to answer your question about meditation. The science, and this is what a lot of people still don't see in the yoga and mindfulness space and with meditation, is that there's a real science behind why it works so well. And it's been working with yoga and meditation, even predating yoga, which we can't pinpoint the time, but the yoga practice, the physical asana practice, is over 5,000 years old. We've been doing this as human beings for longer than we've been doing anything else. Like pre-organized religion, we've been taking care of our bodies.
I love that.
So we can sit still longer in meditation. So it's, the science has always been there, but we've just now been looking why. So what we've discovered is so many things, like meditation actually regrows gray matter in your brain, which I'd say 12 years ago, the science fact was you can never regain gray matter in your brain, and your plasticity level decreases over time, always, as a fact. That fact has been disproven, and we've now proven that with meditation, you can regrow gray matter in your brain and increase neuroplasticity no matter what age you are. So it's so one of the things that works the best is it's your posture. So when you experience fear, and your amygdala, your brain, your body's takes over, and your body's leading, and you're experiencing something as fear, which is very relevant now. Part of the things that happen is your breathing becomes dysregulated, i.e. your parasympathetic nervous system takes over. You start to breathe more shallow. It's your brain telling your body, you don't have it. You don't have it right now. And so I'm going to breathe for you the way that I think you need to fight or flight. And I'm going to pull your body into this position of I don't have it.
Right.
And so the scientist Catherine Cook-Catone's research out of the University of Buffalo, so when she did a study on like, why does yoga help? It was, why does yoga help heal emotional pain? But it really got to, why is yoga perfect for combating the stress response? Because the research led her there. So the stress response happens automatically when you experience fear, stress, anxiety, whatever it is, and these physical things happen in your body. And her research proved that when your conscious brain takes over and pulls your body back into true alignment, you actually correct your posture. Lift your spine long, press down through your core, lift your head up. It's sending the signal, and it sends the signal to your amygdala. You know what? I got this. I'm not stressed out. I'm not in fear. And then you take over your breath, like pranayama, like you tell your body how to breathe.
You're okay, right?
Full breaths. You tell your body by breathing that you're okay. It shuts off the stress response in your body immediately. 0 second delay. Immediately turns it off.
Wow.
And so there's nothing more powerful than when you recognize that you're stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
Sit up straight. I mean, our teachers in middle school and elementary school have been saying it right the whole time. Sit up straight.
Put your shoulders back.
Put your shoulders back. Sit up.
That's my mom. Yeah.
Right, exactly. They were so right on. And
Yes.
goes to show it's like it's intuitive anyway. Like,
yes.
just take a deep breath, honey. You're okay. That's the science of why yoga works. And we've known it. We've known it our whole lives. It's just like putting it in our awareness, like these things actually work and make a difference.
Well, now, and also the science behind it now proves that.
Yeah, exactly.
So would you tell people to stand up, or is it okay to like sit down and do this? Because I know that a lot of people have standing desks, or I've even seen how people are using ironing boards now that a lot of us are working at home. I mean, you and I have always had home offices, but like an ironing board with like a box so they can actually stand up. Does it matter sitting or standing to really get that posture and that breath, or what are your thoughts?
It doesn't matter specifically. I'd suggest sitting down, but just don't put your back on the back of the chair.
Okay.
So sit down. That way you can just really ground your feet and feel the floor.
Yep.
Versus like there's a lot of discomfort happens when you're standing, or possible discomfort. So you want to kind of eliminate that. And then use your center of gravity, your pelvis to root down into the seat, whether you're sitting on the floor, sitting on a chair, and then lengthen from there. Take your legs sort of out of the mix. No pun intended.
Good one.
I take my legs out of the mix all the time.
And then let's just talk briefly about yoga. So I also remember hearing your story about the first time that you ever did yoga. It was intimidating, because you didn't know if you should take off your prosthetic, legs, or like what you would do. So tell us, like, if someone's never done yoga, why should they? And then also, like, you really overcame, like, hey, I'm just going to go for it. And now you have led, like, what's the biggest group you've ever led? I see these pictures on social media.
1,800 people.
Oh my gosh.
In Bryant Park in New York City. Like, it was between 17 and 1,800 people.
Wow.
So I'm like, 1,800. I mean, it was 2,000 people.
It was about 4,000
people were there.
Right.
No, not like between 17 and 1,800 people. It's a lot.
Wow. So how did you, I mean, what advice would you give people to try yoga? Because there's so much like online yoga that people can do now, that people are offering. So what would you tell people to like try it, and what has it done for you?
Yeah, there's no excuses, right? So you're in your home, right? Nobody's watching you except like the instructor, right? And you want them to see you because you want them to tell you, and there's no judgment ever. And I'll say this, so I teach Baptiste power yoga, right? So it's power yoga, and it's intense, it's hard, it's no nonsense. It's not like lift your heart to the goddess moon center of the, it's really just
like you're sweating afterwards.
You're sweating, and you're very physical, like pull your shoulders back, lift your chest to the ceiling. So not a lot of fluff, and I don't mean fluff negatively, but there's over 250 styles of yoga. There is a practice and a style of yoga for everyone. I choose Baptiste yoga because I think Baptiste yoga is for anyone, not for anyone. So the practice is adaptable no matter what a disability could be, or range of motion, or limited, whatever. But what I love about yoga is it's everything we talked about in the science behind sitting up straight. So every pose, every asana or posture is incorporated true north alignment, i.e. bringing yourself. And then you're also moving your body. So in moving your body is paramount to emotional health. Like the body-mind connection is so powerful. It should never be overlooked. People can do all this work in sort of the mindfulness space, but then not take care of their body, and they're being so much less effective as they could be. So just the physical practice of movement, no matter what you're doing, and could be
walking, yoga, just making sure that we're getting up and moving.
Exactly. And specifically why yoga is you don't need a lot of space. 72 inches by 24 inches is typical size of a yoga mat. It's really all you need. You can do it anywhere at any time, especially now. And the cost is zero, right? You don't need a like high-tech yoga mat. You could get one and they're great, and you could do it on a piece of carpet. Doesn't matter. and we've been doing it for so long as human beings. It's something about the staying power that I'm sure the science will catch up with as soon as we dive into this and learn and discover more. And for me, it's my experience in it. I don't need science because I've had experiences
Yes.
on my yoga mat that were so profound and so powerful that I'm like, I don't need anyone to tell me that this is not significantly and exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And yeah, it's so for me, it's a no-brainer. And I'd encourage everyone, like, now's the time to try. And if you don't like your first shot, take a different style.
Right.
Style, yin, restorative, ashtanga, Bikram. Like, there's so many. So don't let that be an excuse.
Nice. Good. And you don't even have to do a full hour class. Like, even if people just do some stretching during the day. And then what I heard you say is make sure that we are standing up, we have good posture, really be aware of your breath, because the body doesn't lie, like, period. The body doesn't lie. And just to be aware of that, to breathe. And so that, woo! That's the cowbell idea.
Yes.
So posture, breathing, turn on some sort of yoga program there's so many free classes that are streaming, to just try something to really connect the body and the mind. And then I know that you also do custom programs for companies, like Nike's one of your clients. So if people want to find you, and you also do a lot of speaking with groups. So if people want to find you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
My website, dannevins.com, DANVINS.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time. You're awesome. You're still the best dancer I've ever danced with.
Yes.
So yes. So thank you so much. And let's all breathe, watch our posture, and do some yoga. Thank you.
And
Namaste.
Namaste.